Okay, let's unpack this. You open your email, and that sinking feeling hits you. An endless scroll, right? Urgent requests, buried under newsletters, notifications just piling up. It feels less like a tool and more like, I don't know, a demanding boss, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. That overwhelmed feeling like the inbox is completely controlling you. It's incredibly common.
Yeah, that constant stream of information. It can easily become a major source of stress and distraction in our daily lives.
Exactly. And that's why we're diving into a concept presented as a way to maybe flip that script. Inbox zero, the agile way.
Now, forget the idea of some mythical, perfectly empty inbox forever. As our sources make clear, the goal here isn't actually zero emails permanently.
Right. That sounds impossible for most people.
It does. It's more about processing them effectively and consistently so your inbox can reach zero, letting you feel, completely in control and focused, not overwhelmed.
So for this deep dive, we've distilled the key ideas from a couple of specific sources you shared. Some excerpts from a YouTube video. Inbox Egg Zero, the simplest way to master your inbox by Agile Chris, sounds like.
Yep, that's the one. And also some excerpts from an IZ self-help guide.
Gotcha.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Extract the core principles and the most practical steps just from these sources. They propose a simple, fast, and honestly, surprisingly effective way to master your email.
And right up front, they highlight this absolute cornerstone principle.
Loose or snooze it. That's the big takeaway phrase.
Loose or snooze it. Okay. It truly boils down to that phrase, doesn't it? It's positioned as a mindset and a habit, much more than some complex system you have to build.
Loose or snooze it. Let's dig into what that actually means in practice. So at its heart, what does this agile way really look like?
Well, the source is presented as a remarkably simple concept. It's deliberately designed to work basically identically across all your devices, your computer, your phone, your tablet.
Okay, same process everywhere.
Exactly. The emphasis is all on simplicity. Simple to learn, quick to use, and minimal setup required.
That's a key insight they really push. It's not about building elaborate folder structures or setting up complex filters or needing fancy add-ons. They seem to actively kind of steer you away from that.
Precisely. The power, according to these sources anyway, comes from its lack of complexity. It's meant to require less overall work compared to, say, traditional filing systems.
Less work. That sounds appealing.
Right. And it's supposed to streamline your email management for maximum efficiency. The promise is you gain back time and mental energy.
Okay, so if it's not about building a digital fortress of folders, how do you actually process emails using this method? You mentioned loose or snooze it is the core principle, which points to just two main actions.
That's basically it. You handle each email as it arrives or, whenever you next check your inbox, and you make a swift decision based on just two options, delete or snooze.
Okay, let's tackle delete first. What kinds of emails fall into that bucket, according to these sources?
This is for anything purely informational. Stuff that doesn't require a response from you or any future action. The sources give some great examples. Maybe a newsletter about your online cycling game or an automated notification that your parcel is in transit.
Right, like that Swift cycling newsletter or the Australia Post status update they mentioned. You need to see it, get the info, but once you have, there's nothing to do with the email itself.
Exactly. And the instruction is clear and pretty firm. Just delete them immediately. Don't let them linger and add, visual or mental clutter to your inbox. Scan it, extract the info if you need it, then delete. Boom.
Simple enough for informational stuff. But what about emails that require a proper response or some specific action later? You can't just delete those.
And you don't. That's where snooze comes in. If an email does require action, but maybe you can't or shouldn't deal with it in that immediate moment, you hit snooze.
So it's not about making it vanish forever then. It's not archiving.
Absolutely not. The sources are very clear on this. Snoozing is a temporary pause. It's essentially telling your email client, show this back to me at a better time. It's a deferred action, not a way to just bury things.
Okay. They give a couple of good examples here too, I remember. Like that email about a failed payment for the Guardian subscription. That definitely needs action.
For sure.
But maybe you're not at your computer with your wallet right then.
Right. And their suggested action was to snooze it for later today. It acknowledges, this needs action soon, but defers it to a time when you're actually set up to deal with it.
Makes sense. And the other one, the Brisbane Lean coffee meeting invite. You want to go, maybe, but you need to check your calendar first before you actually confirm.
Precisely. And given spots might be limited in that example, they showed snoozing it until this weekend. That gives you a specific window to check your availability and respond before it's too late.
Ah, so it ensures it comes back to your attention when you're likely to have time to decide. The key is deliberately picking a relevant time for it to reappear, not just some random future date.
Exactly. Choose when you want to see it again.
Okay, so the core engine is just making one of those two rapid decisions. Delete info, snooze action later. And they call this the Agile way. How does that speed and simplicity translate into being agile with email?
Yeah, the agile part seems to be about leveraging those quick decisions and applying them whenever you have these brief pockets of spare time throughout your day. It's not about setting aside huge blocks just for email. The sources use that relatable cafe scenario. You've just ordered your coffee, you have maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
So you just pull out your phone while you wait?
Exactly. And instead of, I don't know, scrolling social media, you quickly open your email and just rapidly process the new messages using snooze or delete. The speed of the method makes those short bursts incredibly effective.
Ah, okay. Using those little moments that usually just get wasted scrolling feeds or something.
Right. And they really stress focusing on tackling new emails first. This seems to be a crucial part of staying agile. You stop the incoming flow from overwhelming you by addressing things pretty much as they arrive.
But what about the mountain of emails already sitting there, the backlog that everyone seems to have?
Good question. When you have more time than just a few minutes, say, you're deliberately sitting down to process email, then you work through the backlog, chipping away at it.
Yeah.
But the core habit, the agility, comes from consistently processing the new stuff with those two rapid actions whenever you can grab a moment. It becomes a continuous kind of light touch process, not this heavy scheduled burden.
It sounds like it's really about embedding email processing into the natural rhythm of your day, using moments you already have rather than needing to carve out extra time specifically for it.
That seems to be the core idea behind the Agile description, being quick, responsive, and adaptable with how and when you handle that incoming flow. Less friction.
Now, speaking of process, there was one particularly strong piece of advice in the sources, almost like a warning, about what not to do.
Yes, this was very explicit, and it's maybe counterintuitive to how a lot of people manage email currently. They crucially advise you to avoid using the archive function completely.
Wow, okay. That feels radical to some. Archiving makes the inbox look empty. It feels like progress, doesn't it?
It does feel productive, yeah, because the email is gone from view. But the sources argue it often just hides the problem. It creates this vast, searchable repository that, let's be honest, people rarely interact with again.
Like putting things in a box and shoving it under the bed, out of sight, out of mind, but still there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And they offered a specific reason why relying on archive might be less useful than you think, besides just hiding things away.
Which was?
They make the point that emails are often just snapshots in time. If you need specific current information like, say, order details, account status, or policy documents, you're usually better off going directly to the online account or the website.
Ah, where the information is live and definitely up to date.
Exactly. Rather than digging through potential old emails that might contain outdated details or broken links or whatever.
So the idea is, if it's not actionable now, meaning delete, or needs action later, meaning snooze, don't just put it in archive purgatory because you probably won't find it easily or even trust the information later anyway.
That's the argument they make. Stick to the two core actions, snooze or delete.
Yeah.
That simplicity prevents the cognitive load of wondering, did I archive that? Where is it? Is this info still right?
Okay, so the method is simple. Rapid snooze or delete decisions, especially on new emails, using those small pockets of time, leveraging mobile tools like swiping.
Which they say makes it incredibly fast on phones.
Yeah, and scheduling some time, maybe daily or weekly, to actually review those snoozed items and actively avoiding the archive button. What's the ultimate payoff? What's the benefit you gain from consistently doing this?
Well, the sources promise a pretty significant shift.
What?
Reaching and, importantly, maintaining that state of inbox zero brings clarity and focus.
Clarity and focus. That sounds like the exact opposite of the overwhelmed feeling we started talking about.
Absolutely. Instead of your inbox being this constant nag, this visual reminder of undone tasks and unread messages, it transforms into a clear, manageable space. It becomes a tool that actually serves you, highlighting only what really requires your attention now or soon.
So it really is about taking back control from the email monster.
That's the core outcome they emphasize. By applying this simple, consistent principle of lose or snooze it, you move from being reactive to this demanding inbox to proactively managing the flow. You feel in control of your digital communication, not the other way around.
So bringing this back to you listening right now, the sources really present this method as something easy to adopt. It's designed specifically to keep your inbox clear and manageable without getting bogged down in complicated systems.
And the best time to start, according to these sources, is it some big bang approach?
Nope. They say basically right now, whenever you have just a few spare minutes, don't wait for the perfect time or a big cleanup session.
Just like that quick check in a cafe example, even a few minutes consistently can make a real difference in starting this habit and stopping the pileup.
So wrapping up this deep dive into Inbox Zero the Agile way, based on what we found in the Agile Chris material and the IZ self-help guide, it's fundamentally about simplicity and decisive action.
Not about building intricate systems.
No, it's about making quick choices on every single email. Snooze it if it needs future attention at a specific time. Delete it if it's just information you've consumed. That's it.
And consistently applying that lose or snooze it principle is what allows you to process your email efficiently, keep your inbox consistently clear, and ultimately reclaim your sense of control and focus.
Yeah, it's less about perfect permanent organization and much more about managing the flow with minimal friction.
Makes sense.
And just thinking about that core principle, handling incoming items quickly, deciding whether to process later or simply discard, maybe a final thought for you to consider. Where else in your digital life, or heck, even your physical space, could applying a similar lose or snooze it kind of mindset help you cut through clutter and reduce that feeling of overwhelm? Something to mull over.